Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, beautiful hearts. Thank you so much for being here. We have another episode in our Quantum Conversation Summit series, Developing Psionics. And my guest today is Ambujam Rose. She is a beautiful spiritual teacher and healer who is taking us into our heart space more than ever. This is the pathway into the quantum field. It is the pathway to peace, and it is where all of our power lies. Let's welcome Ambujam. Hi, thank you for being here.
Hello, Loren. Hi, you guys. So good to be with you. This is such a big, deep, and wide time together because we're talking about surrendering fully into the heart so you can be in your knowing, right? So the title is simple, right? But doing it is pretty profound and pretty deep. And I just want to say before we get started, before we forget, so I've been seeing in my group sessions in the last like 3 is 2025 is this huge opening to our galactic family. Like it won't be able to be denied or avoided anymore. And I don't know what that will look like, right, in humanity, but they're coming in and it's going to be known. And it's so fascinating because our bodies, our energy systems, our nervous system, they're getting prepped and ready to be able to, quote, communicate, energetically. Some people hear, some people see, some people feel, some people all of the above, right? So our systems are being prepared to be able to actually have all these pathways open to be able to receive and communicate in this way larger way in 25. So your summit, the topic could not be more perfect timing, right?
I love it. And actually, in January, the end of January, starting off our 2025 Summit Series, we're doing interdimensional and galactic beings.
See?
And you're going to be a part of that as
Yay.
well.
Cool.
But I know I'm just feeling and sensing it as well. And,
Yeah.
so when you say, this is really interesting. When you say our bodies are being prepared, I want to go back and I want to mention how oh my gosh, I think it was like 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago. That just is a mind-blowing concept.
Right. Aren't we like 20 still? No.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah. That was my first experience. I was really into yoga at the time. And that was when I first heard the word Lemuria, which totally melted my heart. But that was when I first experienced ear ringing, like or then it would switch sides. And that would, like, when that first happened to me, I literally freaked out. I didn't know what else to do except go sit in a yoga pose. And then I asked my yoga teacher, I'm like, what was that?
What's
She's like,
going on?
I'm glad that you chose yoga, sit in a yoga pose. Other people would go take a beer or something. But it was very profound. So that was 30 years ago. But now, and then, they would shift, but the tones have actually, they're still there, but they're less abrasive. Isn't that interesting? It's so when you say that our bodies are being prepared, we are getting used to it. We're attuning to it. Maybe we're balancing out. Is that a way of communication? Ear ringing communication.
Somehow my phone is ringing on my... That's very strange. Hold on.
The galactics.
Decline. Yeah,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me put my do not disturb. Okay. I didn't think that was going to happen.
The galactics are indeed
Right.
calling.
They're calling
So,
me. Hello.
this notion of the ear ringing subsiding, what are your thoughts about that? What are your thoughts first about the ringing in the ears? Because if it's a constant ringing, that could be tinnitus or
Yeah.
tinnitus, however people pronounce that. But this is
Um,
something that's energetic.
yeah, I myself go through different ear things like clogged, blocked,
Clogged.
um, or like a thumping or like a heartbeat. And I know what it is. I'm like, oh, I'm shifting. So
You're
yeah, it's really
shifting.
normal, that ear ringing thing. And
Are we shifting dimensions?
I would say,
Energetics?
I mean, yes, always. But I would say the ear ringing stuff is like the emotional, physical, mm, energetics within our bodies that are aligning to that way of being. So that's my sense, kind of the overall sense of it. And then, it doesn't happen all the time. It happens every now and then, right? Sometimes I go
Yeah,
years without that. And then, oh,
right.
it's back.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's so interesting to like psychically watch this aligning going on, because to be able to communicate like in a greater level, right? Have more access to ourselves and then outer energy. It's really interesting because there's like 80,000 layers going on in the body at once, and everything is like this subtle level of communication with itself. Like, okay, let's do this now. Okay, let's do that, and then that triggers this, and then it's like this light show inside of all the subtle lines of energy that make our bodies up, that start talking to itself, and it just kind of starts opening, like activating or turning on. And it's going on all at once in our systems. It's not like one spot. It's just really fascinating. It's a lot, for our
Yeah,
little
and
human selves. And I feel like I have to say this too, like, we're human, so we want change now. We want things to happen, hurry up. And it's like, how your system is now, if this were to be instant 20 years ago, you couldn't hold it. Your system would destabilize. So it takes time, right? To to get ready, you know. And I was talking about this with my husband the other day. It's like we all want these instant things. Like, of course, like who wants to suffer? Who wants to hurt? No one. And I'm like, but does anything actually happen instantly, ever? Once you finally see the thing manifest, well, where did it come from? Positive quote or negative, right? And so it's learning like how to kind of slow down and be like, I'm on the trajectory I'm on, and I'm listening, and I'm doing my best, you know, and to just love those parts that are like, hurry up already. I
yeah,
think the hardest thing on this path, because we're awakening and the depths of all of our stuff from all lifetimes are coming up to reconcile and complete, so we can embody who we are on these deeper levels, right? Like that's forever. That's the rest of this lifetime. It doesn't go away. And we get easier with it. We have times where it's not painful or kind of to the level of uncomfortable. And there are a lot of times that it is uncomfortable. And the levels of stuff that's coming up in our physical bodies now is deep, man. Like it is in the mud underneath a lake deep. And a lot of people are going through physical stuff more than ever. And it's just so important to practice meeting it and being present with it, and then meeting it again, and then being present with it again, and being like, okay, how do we just slow down? It's hard, right? But going fast is like the PTSD thing, right? Hurry, 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 right? That's like the quick, quick, hurry, hurry. And learning how to like kind of come from our core, with all this change. So, yeah, I just want to share that too. It's important.
Thank you. I have been, it's just been very interesting the last few weeks. We've just gone through some crazy US election in the US.
Mm.
And the polarity, it's surprising, but I know that we're all of us here are working to be the bridge of light to all realities. We all want the same thing,
To all
all
realities.
sides.
Yeah.
Yes, all sides
Yeah.
want the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, we do. So I'm really trying to understand all sides. And it can kind of make you boinkers. So that's where what you're speaking about is really important because it's all about this energy right here, this
Mm.
core that you talked about. And when we do just shut everything out and look at our reality that's 3 feet in front of us, we feel a lot better.
So true.
Right? And so that
Like,
is where our power is.
yeah,
So
like
how
down
has it been?
here.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Well,
Expand on that.
years and years and years and years ago, I was going through something and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I was like all in my head and everything and freaking out
Mhm.
and trying to get to my heart and trying to get to my truth. And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I kind of saw myself doing that. And I was like, whoa. So there's two realities here. One is true self, quiet, still, calm, peaceful, ever kind of blossoming, happening, aliveness. Then there's this other reality that I'm in with my head and my mind and my freak out. And I was like, oh, the answers will never be up here. They're down there. Like,
Interesting.
this is my reality down here. And this present moment, like you just said, when I slow down and like, what is 3 feet in front of me? What is right here? That's where the answers come. They don't come from this place. And it was so clear cut to me that there were like these two places. I'm either here or here. Which one do I want to be in? It's totally my free will, my choice. Life doesn't care. Life's not like, go down there. Life's like, oh, you want to be up there? Okay, cool. You want to be down there? Okay, cool. Right. So yeah, it's, and because we have free will of where we put our focus, right? It's up to us what we're focusing on. Because like 2010, 11, and 12, those kind of puppet strings were kind of like cut,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're on our own in a good way, as we should be. We're sovereign beings in a human body. Like, of course, we should like have full power of where we put our focus, right? And it's a double-edged sword because we have full power of where we put our focus. Anywhere we're putting it, life's like, whatever, go ahead. And everything then manifests that much faster now, right? From where we're putting our focus. And so, which is like, brings me back to our topic today about when I watch people tune in to use their capacities, most people are trying from here because there's so much momentum and habit, right?
Mhm.
Trying. And it's like,
Because it's
no,
our
it's
eyes. Like it's our eyes.
like trying. And it's like, no, it's all your information is in this like surrendered wholeness, heart, beingness energy. That's where the tune in happens. And so I really want to talk about that today and like, what's in our way and how we can like really surrender in there, you know.
You
And
know,
sorry, I just want to say one more thing. What I like about that answer is almost like, phew, it's never something out there that I need to know. Like, it's here. It's all here. Phew. Right?
so
It's
that
not.
brings up a good question because
Mm,
we know this. I mean, like you said, it may sound simple, but it's not that easy. And I would say this is one of the questions that we get a lot. How do we know that we're in our heart? How do we know? How do we know? My husband will say that. He's wired in the heart, but he's in the head a lot. And so
Mm-hmm.
he'll be like, "What do you mean that I have to be in the heart?" Can you
Mm-hmm.
give us some indicators, especially when it comes to sensing from the heart,
Mm-hmm.
making a decision from the heart? I think when we say speaking from the heart, that to me is the easiest because then our voice comes down in tone
Mm-hmm.
instead of being up here and all
Mm.
excited, right? So for me, it's like I can speak from the heart. That's easy, speaking from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
But actually making a decision or receiving information from the heart, I think that's where some people are challenged. Would that be a block that you think that comes from?
Um, well, first of all, the heart, being in the heart and getting information and making decisions from the heart has a certain vibration to it versus being in the mind, trying to go in the heart has a certain vibration to it, right? So if we super simplify everything down without labels, it's all energy and vibration. When we're in the heart, it feels quiet, expansive, still, peaceful, calm. There's like a fullness when the information comes from the heart. There's no defensiveness to it. There's no agenda energy. It's like a relief almost, or like an expansion. Like anytime where we feel the truth, even though it might be something scary, because the truth comes from love, there's always this, but then we have to do the thing, right? But there's that instant kind of feedback when it's coming from the truth because of its vibration and how it feels. There's a fullness to it. Versus when I've got energy messing with me or I'm in my own mind, it doesn't have a fullness to it. It's thin and anxiety. And it's fear, like it triggers fear, feels fearful. And so the heart again feels, I mean, there's really no word for these feelings of like that depth of the flowing river, of expansion and quiet and peace and full and nurturing and warm. It's the best I got for now. But we all know what that feels like, whether we've been there for a second or an hour, or we know what the heart feels like. And one of the reasons why we can't just know the truth all the time is because we have attachment to the answer, and we have fear, and we have trauma. And so when we go to tune in, when we go to leave the thin energy of the mind, let's say, and that anxiety producing energy, and we kind of start to go down, whatever's unconscious, which is attachment to the answer, fear of what the answer will be, trauma, wounding, that's the block
Mm.
that is there. And what I find that's really helped me, and I've watched it with my clients, is we can't ever try to go around the block or go under it to get to the truth in our hearts. When we can practice being really present and acknowledging, yeah, I'm feeling like stuck, or I'm feeling attached to the answer, I'm feeling fearful of the answer, like I'm just feeling how I'm feeling as I start to go down to the truth. When you're super present with that, it goes,
Mm.
thank you. And like a child pulling at your leg, it just needs to be heard. And then you're like, oh, hello, I see you down there. What's up? And the child's like, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, we're going to go, have dinner now. Or we're going to, and once the child is heard, um, it feels safe to let the adult do what it's doing, right? So I find when we're super present, when we're trying to tune into our hearts and we can't just naturally just go right in there, it's because of fear. At the end of the day, it's fear. Fear of this, fear of that, trauma. But at the end of the day, we're scared in that moment. And the more that we can just practice owning and being honest with ourselves of like, where am I actually at right now? This is okay. And I'm going to start from here versus trying to get past it to get into the heart. Right. I have found that is like magic. Everything like, relaxes, you know. And then spirits adding too, they're like this idea that we have that, oh, I can't do it. Somebody else can. I can't do it. They're like, that's not your heart, right? That's, I can't do it. I can't do it. Well, of course you can't, but you can, right? And then the other thing too that I would just want to share overall is everyone tunes into themselves and their information super specifically and uniquely to how their system works. And so to find what that is for you is super important, regardless of what you think it should be or how somebody else does it, right? Because we're always comparing ourselves. It's like it's a human thing. And so any thought that you have of, well, I can't do it, that's just a thought, it's just your mind. So that's what I want to say so far. Just be super honest about what's up when you go into your heart. And the idea of, well, I should be past all this by now, or I should have figured this out by now is just, again, another idea. It's like, yeah, well, you're not, right?
That is a really good way to go. I love that. So, for example, you're saying really to sit in the fear or that energy. So when we're in our head, that's where the fear comes from, the worry, the doubt. And then there's that recognition that it's there. So that when we recognize it and honor it, then it's
Then,
almost like a choice point, right?
yeah.
That's like a sigh of relief when we realize it's a choice. Is it a choice? It's a choice.
Which part, to be honest with what was,
To,
with what,
to just hang out in that head up there,
yeah.
or to surrender, that key word of our topic today, to just say, okay, I realize that's there, and I'm going to surrender to the heart.
Well, and surrendering to the being in the head fully. Like, yep, I feel blocked right now. I'm just going to be with that. I'm not going to fix it.
Oh, that's the key point. We're running around trying to fix it, trying to feel better, trying to get the answer.
Yeah.
And I've actually been realizing lately, as we talk about that, we tend to go outside or to go to a psychic to have someone tell us, can you tell me why this is going on? Is this, you're right?
Of
Where
course. Yep.
and no one's going to be able to do that for us. Really, no, they can, but we need to be the ones that can do that for
Yep.
ourselves.
And on that point, and I've spoken a lot about this over the years of like when to go to a healer. So there are many reasons why we reach out to someone, right? And what's important before we reach out to somebody is to just take a moment and check in and be like, okay, what is my motivation? Why am I reaching out right now? Is it because it just feels true in my heart? Like, ooh, this person feels really right, and I know they can totally facilitate something for me. And it feels clean and it feels pure. I don't feel needy. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's coming from fear. Or am I afraid that I won't know what to do, and therefore I'm going to reach out to somebody from fear? And it's just like, check yourself of why you reaching, because there's nothing wrong with reaching out. It's just where we're doing it from. And it's not about right or wrong. It's about really know your motivation. So if it's true to reach out to somebody, you're coming to the table with, okay, I understand where I'm at with everything. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. I'm scared and I'm freaked out. It's like, it's an empowering move to come to the table with being honest of where you're at within yourself. And it's just, I find that is just such an important check-in to do. Because if we're just reaching out from fear and we haven't checked that, those sessions don't really work out so well, you know? Or without checking in to be like, yep, I am super scared right now, that I'm lost. I don't know what to do. I do need help. I'm going to reach out. When you show up with consciously being scared like that, the exchange can be really different with somebody. And without checking your fear, without realizing, oh, I'm reaching out because I don't think I'll know what to do. I don't have it. Somebody else does. When we're in that, we're kind of like outside of ourselves, right? We're not like in, we're like this, right? So even if somebody gives you a true answer, you can't fully take it in. You can't, there's no direct experience inside of yourself to know what they're saying is right or wrong for you, or you'll feel better for 2 seconds, but that foundational fear is still there. It'll come back, right? And so working with one another is so, it's like not to be taken lightly, you know? And it's really important how we show up with each other. And it's not about not being scared. It's about being conscious that, okay, I feel like I want to give my power away right now. And I'm scared, right? Because that's why we do it, because we're scared. And it's like, okay, I feel like I want to give my power away. Well, I'm just going to be present with that. Okay, cool. Right? So it's checking yourself, right? And it's slowing down enough. Like for me, over the years, I've learned how to, like a long time ago, when I would work with people, I would just do it. Like I didn't have that awareness yet. And I would feel better for a second or something would work, but I didn't have me. Like I didn't have that foundational me that I was showing up with because I was scared of whatever issue I was going through, right? And then after a while, I was like, oh. And it happened when I was picking an angel card. So I was picking this angel card about, okay, what do I do about this situation? Pick a card, right? I was scared to death. Pick a card. Or what is it I need to know today? Pick a card. No matter what that angel card says, I have no sense of self to even feel if that's the right answer for me, because I'm totally like out of my body in fear. So let's say it's a yes, no, right? The worst. Should I do this or that? Let me ask something else, right? We're in that position and we pick a card and it says yes. We go, phew. Or it says no. We go, ah. But we don't even know, right? We don't have that foundational, does this even resonate? Does this answer even resonate with me? I don't know. I'm so scared. I'm out of my body and I'm just picking cards because I'm freaked out, right? So it's like, it's just so fascinating when you really like slow down, you start asking yourself, why am I reaching out? Why am I picking an angel card today? What's this about for me, I wonder? Where am I coming from? So I feel to work with a healer, these are some really important questions to ask yourself before you just do it. Slow down, back up. Why am I doing this? What's my motivation? What is it I'm actually needing? You know? Yeah.
Very good. Great. So I would love to take some questions from our audience. So this is a shout out to
Speaking
our
of which.
audience on Zoom to
Yeah.
please share with us how you're feeling, because that could actually lead us into a group transmission or a meditation. How are you feeling? If you've got a question for Ambujam, please raise your hand on Zoom and we can unmute you and get your question answered. So beautiful. We are going to go to Tamra right now. Tamra, hello. You can unmute yourself and say hello.
Hello, beautiful soul.
Hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh, this is so resonating with where I'm at, where I've been at. It's just for me, what I'm aware of is, the mind, too much in the mind, over analyzing, overthinking. There's a lot of fear, and aware of that, and kind of what I've created. And so, just a lot of fear, and like what I've been putting it towards is the ego, just fighting to maintain itself.
You're kind of muffled, honey. Can you like talk more in the?
Oh,
It's hard to
okay.
understand.
Can you hear me better?
Be
I think
closer
so.
to the mic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm on a tablet here, so I'm not sure where the
Okay.
microphone is. Can you hear me better?
What's your question?
This, I guess, to help get into the heart and, get out of the mind so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I've been living a lot.
So this is very specific for you, okay? When you talk about this right now, being in the mind and then wanting to be in the heart, right? There's like this very distinct image of how separate these two things are for you and how that's getting more separate. Like, oh my God, I'm so in my mind and I just want to get down there to my heart. And on a soul level, let's say, on a journey right now of your awakening and your healing, it feels really significant that you can't stay in your mind anymore, and yet you still feel like it's really strong still. There's a reason why it feels so separate like that. And overall, what I want to say is you are on a process of whatever keeps that happening breaking open. And it won't be how your mind thinks, it'll feel when you're in your heart. So it's coming, like it's close. And so as you're in this journey of this really foundational shift and this choice of, because it feels like it's coming from this really deep choice of, I don't even have a word because it's so many things, but it's like, I don't want to be like this anymore. I'm choosing to change. And this isn't just about mind and heart. It's like a whole thing, you know? And because of that choice and because of the trajectory life has you on, you are headed straight towards that that opening of where there's more of a synergy and an ecosystem that they're working together. And so you're right on it, and it can feel even worse and louder as you get closer to that point of which is on its way. So one thing I want to say is just kind of sit back, knowing it's a timing, keep making your choices. Don't get too effortful about it right now. Just, I would say, really feel the choice that you're making, because that feels like what's driving everything right now. And to just kind of practice riding this wave, knowing you have made the choice and you're making the choice and it's going to shift. So what do you want to say about that? Because it feels like I need to ask you.
Oh, it's 100% of what I said. It's like probably for last month over and over, but I think even yesterday, it was like we've had enough of this madness that has been going. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time. So if this whole experience of mind and heart get louder, just know that it's because it's getting towards the end, and just kind of breathe through it feel, know this is okay, and it'll shift because you've chosen it to. Yep. Thank you, love.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, you're right. It has gotten louder than.
Yep. Oftentimes it's what happens right before the change. Things get way, quote, worse, way louder. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it.
That's a relief to really know that it gets louder before you have that breakthrough, because it can make us feel like we're going crazy.
Right? And
Really,
like, oh
it
my
make us,
God.
or that we're gaslighting ourselves,
Or we're
right?
going backwards, or we missed it, or it's like
Uh-huh.
I like the image of like putting the old VCR, the tape in the VCR, and when you'd either rewind or fast forward, it would go really fast until the very end, and it would be like, "Brrr," right? Or you fast forward, and it goes fast, 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 and as it gets to the end, it goes. So it's that's kind of what it feels like. Why are things slower? Actually, no, they're not. It feels that way, but yeah, it's towards the end. Yep.
Okay. You said that was unique for Tamra.
Mhm.
I think we're all feeling a little bit of that though. So these are very comforting words. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And Cece, you can unmute now as well. She actually says something similar. Cece,
Mm.
hello. Sweetheart, you can unmute. Cece. Oh, Cece. Cece, we might have to come back around to you. Hopefully you, okay. I do want to share a comment in our Zoom. She says, this is exactly what I'm going through too. I could see the shift of that last night. So I love hearing this right now. Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have we have Michelle in our chat line with a question. She says,
Mhm.
thank you for this call. I need some help. I'm sensing so much energy coming in during healing sessions. A lot and very fast is coming, but I can't put words to it or understand it. I know I'm clearing whatever energies come up, but is there a block or something? Ambujam, can you check? This is for Michelle.
Um, I would say so. The overall picture is this. So your how you receive information is widening, getting bigger, and there's a lot that has to happen for all kinds of parts to kind of catch up to that. So I would be patient. Haha. It's the hardest thing. I would just be patient because your whole thing is shifting of how information comes. I don't want to say how it comes because it kind of comes the same, but it's on more levels. That's how I would want to say. So it's coming in more levels, and you don't quite know how to, what's the word I'm looking for? Relay that information, but you will. So that's what I would say. It just is going to take some time to get used to it, and it's like flexing. You're flexing a new spiritual muscle. So I would just relax, give yourself the time to get used to this new thing. And when you more relax instead of trying, right? Relax, then how you offer the information will come, and it'll just do its thing. Yep.
Okay, beautiful. Patience is a virtue. We've heard that, and now we are actually living it. Patience and presence. I want to say,
Mhm.
yes, presence, presence. It's a
Um,
gift. That word, presence. It sounds like multiple gifts, but it really is a gift. Presence.
I just want to add this too about tuning into the heart and surrendering into the heart for knowing. So when you're trying to find an answer and it's feeling effortful, stressful, it's not working, just stop for a second and ask yourself, why might I be afraid to know right now, I wonder? And just be with what's there. So I just want to add that too.
Okay, I'm going to reiterate that. Why am I afraid to know about that right now? That's a really good tip, because the heart will talk to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why am I afraid to know about that right now? Thank you. It's a good one. Okay, let's go to our beautiful sister, Denise. Denise, hi, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, right along those lines, maybe a few steps further down the line. The reason that I'm working with this particular thing now, I was hit by a ski racer 6 years ago, 7 injuries, 5 surgeries,
Mm-hmm.
and they threw it out of the courts. They lied. So I have to stand up for myself in a different way, not through the lawyer who doesn't want to do any more work because he's not going to get paid unless we win. So fears come up, gut fears. So in relation to all this, when I'm asking the universe, what's my next step? Who should I contact? How? And then I'm at peace, and then I'm not, and then I am. The fear that we're talking about, because we're all on this journey together on this call for the most part, we want to learn always to love ourselves and to never hurt ourselves. And I think there's something about the fear of possibly doing the wrong thing and hurting myself by not doing the right thing and not knowing in my head what that is. And I'd like to dissolve that, but that could be a core fear from, having died in the Holocaust in that lifetime and now being here, but having that genetically, being killed. So there's something deep, way deep, that I'd like to.
Well, it's interesting that you the fear of making a mistake comes from, I'm just going to overall that for a second. For each of us, that comes from many different things, right? It's childhood, it's past life. There's a lot of motivators for that. And kind of one step at a time of why am I afraid to make a mistake right now? What is there right now for me to work with or understand or be present with? But for you, when you talked about you now have to stand up for yourself and you're dealing with that and coming into that, there were these, and then you talked about the fear. I forget what the words you used, but I saw this image of this whole situation is like a catalyst for you to break, like it's really old, to break layers and layers and layers and layers of fear of coming out and standing up for yourself. And so this situation is triggering a lot in the lower body. It kind of looks like these like clouds. And so when you go in to your truth, there's all this peace, like you're saying, and space and true
Right.
self. And then the clouds that feel terrified isn't even a
Right.
word.
That's a good word. Yeah.
That's the past life experiences of, ooh, I feel like we're going to do a group thing. That's your past life experiences of, well, the last time I not only stood up for myself, but did it outwardly in the community. Horrible things happened, right? And so this whole situation is this massive catalyst to like how it looks like right now. I mean, to reconcile this whole lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of being hurt, standing up for yourself. But what I want to share is, as you come up against these terrors, is they just need you to be like, oh, yeah, I totally get why you are just petrified right now. Let me just listen. And that's kind of like your superpower, is listening and being present. And then these fears will start to feel safe and trust you. And that can kind of soften the whole thing, this experience that you're in.
Will they melt as they become
Yeah.
acknowledged and loved?
Yeah, they start to, exactly. They start to let go and then provide information as they're letting go. And to not be in a rush, but it's more about the curiosity and listening to them and understanding, oh, no wonder why I'm terrified. No wonder why the situation is happening like it is, to trigger these things like they are. Like there's only a few circumstances that could have triggered all this like this, right? Like,
Right.
So, yeah. I feel like right now, with all of us together, I feel like I want to do something about clear something, heal something, leap forward in I'll just label it for now for a second, just so I can get into this, about the fear of making a mistake. Because it's not the mistake that we're afraid of.
Hurting ourselves.
It's what choices then create a certain experience that we don't want to have again. We don't want to feel those feelings again. We don't want to have. So I'm just going to do something. Is that okay, Lauren? We do a group thing?
Please. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up. Let's see. So where this release wants to happen in you guys is like root chakra, abdomen, second chakra area. And it's just a snowball effect. It's already starting to move. Of, simply put, past life and this life experiences that then feed, I don't want to make a mistake. What if I do the wrong thing? What if I do the right, what if? And so I just feel like we want to help whatever is there right now to be seen, be heard. And we don't have to try to see it and try to hear it. It's what's happening. But that's what's happening. For these parts to be seen, to be heard, to know that we've got them. They're safe with us. And of course they're scared because of what they've experienced. So we're just doing some healing down there now and release. And, it's like the part of the body that contracts in a very specific way, right? When we're scared, it's like a flower pulls its roots up, right? So there's just past life subtle levels and layers down there of just compounded experiences. So we're just going in there and helping them in the way that they need. And then what's interesting is it's totally related to our topic today. So these parts are scared to know the truth, scared to know the answer, because then they have to act on it. And if they act on it, they'll get hurt. So it's like another reason why we can be scared to know the truth. And like there's a lot of higher beings in God right now. They're saying, and in this lifetime, you're called to be the truth and do the truth. So it's very like the opposite of what the fears want to do. They want to be like, don't ask me. I'm not turning on again. No thanks. And yet God is saying, but this is a life that you're being called to be truth, act truth, do truth, live truth, right? So it's triggering the chorus scarednesses and wounding, you know. And there's this image of like floss. So this life, you're being asked to be truth, speak truth, live truth. That's the floss coming in, and then it pulls out all this old stuff in the teeth to the surface, pulls it out, and then there's this back and forth, right? Getting all that stuff out that's just sitting there. And the only way to get it out is floss. Toothbrush isn't going to do it. Swishing's not going to do it. It's deep in there. And so by you, all of us here, by you being called in this life to be truth, speak truth, live truth, and all what that means, it's going in to where the fears and traumas are on the most deepest level to get them out, just like the floss. And then your teeth are clean. Then they're just teeth. You know, the gums are healthy because the stuff is out. So as we're just doing this healing, that's this image I just keep seeing. The call is the floss. Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's becoming the union of knowing and being. When that will dissolve is when we do all that good flossing and it becomes one.
It becomes one, exactly. Yep. So we're still in there, just clearing out lower body. Every single person I have ever worked with in the 30 plus years now I've been doing this work, the very thing that they're called to do in this life is the very thing that triggers their most deepest fear, trauma, wounding, and separation to heal and be free. And so whatever we're called to do that scares us is to heal us. And we all have our own thing, you know, what that is, what that floss is, right? Yep. So I'm watching all of you guys now on this really deep level, just kind of namaste, all this deep fear and wounding that's past life. Because that's the root. And then there's this life, but this past life stuff, it's like namasteing it. And you're like, okay, I'm going to go forward now. And whatever's going to release will release. And whatever still needs to come with me, I'm here for it. And we're going to go forward. Okay. So you guys are all getting ready to leap forward into your next levels of self, your path. Okay. Some of you are funny. You're like, I've got this here map. And how do I use this thing? And it's like, that's just your mind. Your system knows exactly what your map is and where you're going. These parts are like, fine, I'll put my map down, AKA I'll put my mind down, you know, to make the leap. Because your being knows what it's doing, right? Okay, ready? You guys are going to go forward now. So things are ending and integrating, and then you guys are just going forward. So the process that we're doing is now completing, and but you guys are busy going forward now. So if you guys want to share how that was for you, let us know.
It's as if we've taken that choice to not feel that way anymore, right? It's our choice. And as Denise was sharing, it's one now. Okay, please share with us in our chat line how you're feeling. Darlene says, thank you, a tinkling in the root and the second chakra.
Mm.
Lindsay says, I really felt the energy of that in my root chakra and the back of my sacral chakra.
Mm.
Thank you. Fallon says, polarizing of clarity and confusion, which has been happening all week.
Mm.
Great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, like me as the facilitator of that, like my sense after all that we just did is there's more of like oneness in everyone, like a harmony. It's like so simple, like, oh. And everything's kind of more like together feeling versus mind, heart, right? It's like, oh, here I am.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. More comments. Amanda says, I felt a release in my jaw towards the end, like my jump forward is to communicate in an expanded level. Oh, I love that, Amanda. We have a lot of communication to share on our planet. As I started our show today, we are bridges of light. We are bridges of light. I saw that very clearly a few weeks ago. And I am choosing, like you said earlier to one of the gals, it's a choice. I don't want to feel that way anymore. And after feeling a certain way, we don't want to feel that way anymore. And you know what? I have done that on certain levels, and it absolutely does work. It really does work. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
like when it's like coming from that direct, like, I'm done. No, right? I don't want to anymore. Yeah, it's really powerful.
Yeah, that's like taking our power back and recognizing the choice that we have. It's a
because
choice.
before we chose to
Let it overrun us.
Yeah, like that's the thing. So if we come back to our sovereignty and our power, all our issues, all our ways of being, all the stuff that we're going through, we chose to have those experiences long ago, which is why they're happening. This life, we're like, I don't want this anymore. I choose this now. And so we're constantly reconciling past self, old self, present day self, to be able to make, because it's the same you that made the choice before is the same you that's making a different choice now. It's like the very thing that creates, quote, disease can create health. It's the same energy.
That's
profound. It's profound.
That's profound.
It's like, holy wowzers, like,
that's profound.
It's me. It's so like visceral and raw and in there. And it's not, and this is the hard part too, it's not about the judgments and the fear and the criticism of how the mind and the ego can be like, well, I chose this and I must be this and I must be that, right? It's all this overlay and story that creates all this added stress. And it's thin, it's not full, right? It's not a punishment. It is literally a neutral thing. You chose X, now you're choosing A. That's what it is. And so X and A must reconcile for you to fully embody your A choice now, right? It's so profound. And to get that deep into where that truth is, not the mind's fear of, uh-oh, I made a mistake. Uh-oh, how could I have chosen that? What's wrong with me? That's not where the change happens. It's kind of getting into that sovereign, okay, I chose this before. I wonder why. There's no judgment. It's like factual in a way. With heart, we can say, why did I choose this? And why don't I want to choose this anymore? It's all me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's all me. That's a great phrase. Write that down. It's all me. Or remember that. That's powerful. really powerful. It's so subtle, but so
It's
profound.
so subtle. Like we can miss it because we're too busy judging or criticizing ourselves or blaming someone else. And it's,
Yes,
and
yes.
when it does involve someone else, we could say it is 50-50 or whatever the percentage is. That person still has to take responsibility for their side, but I can only take responsibility for me and my side. That's all I can do. And then how things roll out on a situational level, that's above my pay grade, right? I can't control what somebody else will do, but I can get that deep in myself to the most truest place that
Mm,
is creating that situation and change it within in the deepest way I can. And then that affects the situation. So yeah, it's so profound. It's the Ho'oponopono.
I was just gonna say, it's the Ho'oponopono. It's the Ho'oponopono. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Where's
And
that
some
in
would,
me?
and yeah, and some would say, first off, why do I have to say I'm sorry? I didn't do anything wrong. I just had an experience over the weekend that brought me back to this, what we're talking about right here, right now. And the best we can do is what you just said. It's all me. We do our part, and then the Ho'oponopono helps dissolve it. Because by us showing up, doing our part, I can see how that will shift the other person as well.
Ooh,
Yeah.
can I share a Ho'oponopono
Yes.
story?
Please. I love those stories. They are real.
Dang, man.
They are real. And we should all be paying attention as we weave the Ho'oponopono in every interaction. Please share.
Right?
Yes, we should. We should.
It's so true.
It's real.
So what I learned about Ho'oponopono is whatever's happening out there is in here. And so, gosh, this is about 15 years ago-ish. I was visiting somebody and I don't think I was in Peru. I don't know where the heck I was, okay? I was somewhere where everyone spoke Spanish. Okay, I don't speak Spanish. And I was going for a run. I'd leave my friend's house, Puerto Rico, that's where it was. I was going for a run, and there was this older man, probably like in his 90s. Like he was really old. He was all dirty. He had like a dirty I Love New York t-shirt on. He was like with his goats and stuff because I was up on this mountain. Okay. So he was like in the field, older guy, dirty, just like raw dude. And I would go run by him and he'd be like, mm. And I'm like, and that would happen for like 3 or 4 days. And I'd go by him on my way to and then the way back, and his reaction to me was always the same. And I would try to wave, and he wanted nothing to do with me. So I went for a run one day, and I was like, oh, Ho'oponopono. Okay, where is his emotion in me? And all of a sudden, I felt all this grief. And I went through the grief, and I cried on my run. And on the way back, he goes, hola. And I'm
Oh,
like, oh. And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no hablo inglés. I mean, no hablo español. And we couldn't have a conversation, but we actually stood there together for about a minute and just like looked at each other's eyes, and he was smiling at me. And I was like, that was instant. That my grief, I healed mine, which then affected him. That was, I'll just never forget that experience.
I love that. I
And so
really.
like, I want to add too, sorry to cut you off. So because that was instant, I got to see that it quote works, right? It's actually working, but we don't always see the instant, but it's still working just like that, right? We just don't see it all the time. But remember, what's out there is in here. It just might look different, you know? Like whenever I work with couples and one person is like, this person is doing that and I can't stand it. And this person goes, this person is doing that and I can't stand it. And this hurts me and this hurts me. You can see psychically that they're doing the exact same thing to each other. It just looks really different, but the energy is the same. And when they can like tune into what that is, oh, there's the healing. but it doesn't look like it's the same thing. Like, I didn't think he was going through grief, that guy. I thought he was angry at me because his scowl, I had no idea it was grief. You know, it's interesting. Yeah.
See, can we all see the power that we each have by using these tools and assisting the world? I think that's so beautiful. So again, another great tool and another great tip to use all the time. I mean, because it really does work. I've got stories as well. And I've begun to see immediately. There was one time where I didn't see immediately and I was kind of stunned. I'm like, uh-oh, did it work? But it did because nothing ever transpired out of it. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. So anyway, the violet flame and the Ho'oponopono people, we really have some really great tools for this time on the planet. All right. So I just want to finish with a couple of the comments sharing the beautiful feelings that people had. Tamara is feeling more grounded and calmer. Pippa says, my heart has expanded and I feel at ease. That is it. There's no worry anymore. Like I do feel grounded myself, like no solid. Let's just say solid, centered. Fallon says, empowerment is my word. And that's beautiful. Tamara says exactly what I stated yesterday. I'm done with this madness, suffering. We're done. We're done. We don't need to carry it anymore. All right. Let's see. We are coming towards the end of our show, and I wanted to have you share this beautiful opportunity for people to work with you. Now, many people may already know and have worked with Ambujam. There's someone who said that she's had a session with you and it's absolutely amazing. But we want to share a special offer where Ambujam does group power healings, and you'll find them also on New Earth One Network. These group power healings go very deep, and this is in this special offer along with some other goodies. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat box. Ambujam, please tell us about this offering.
So I'm very looking forward to it. I wanted to do a live group power healing. So it's going to be December 22nd. I can't remember the time. I want to say it's either 12 Eastern or 1 Eastern, but all the information is there.
It's 1 Eastern. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Yep. So it's 90 minutes. And it's all based on everything that we're talking about, the subject that we're talking about today, about clearing, healing, quickening your evolution to clear the old blocks of you surrendering fully into your heart. And so how the sessions work is Spirit gives me the topic, and then it's you specifically, everybody who comes, who brings all those specific details of what your blocks are. Where are you presently in your healing awakening journey, and what are your specific relevant past life, this life, multidimensional life experiences that create blocks today that you will bring, that we will do rapid, swift healing, clearing, awakening, leaping forward in. And it's a big, deep, profound opportunity to really be in your heart and surrender deeply. So that's that session. And then all the details are on the sales page as well. And I also wanted to add 2 of my group power healings that I felt were relevant to help with this, which is the inner child healing. So I did a part 1 inner child healing, and after that session, I was like, we need to do some more. So I also did a part 2, and why I feel there's a very specific aspect to those sessions of why I felt that that was appropriate and rightful to add to this package was at the end of part 1 of the inner child healing, there were so many identities that released. The inner child, and what's so interesting is I don't normally remember sessions because I'm in the moment, it's happening, and when it's done, it's over. Every now and then, I'll remember. And so it's just really interesting that I remember this very clearly. So at the end of part 1, everyone's inner child had so much space because all this identity had released in the session that their inner child made it a point to, hey, look at all this space. No identity, no oneness. And my innocence and curiosity that's always been here that can come out now. And then part 2 really tapped into that to expand upon that, get guidance. We learned all kinds of things. And so part 1 and part 2, inner child healing, is part of this package as well. So that's what we get.
Thank you for that. Your promotions of this group power healing are always so effective. And as you learned about the inner child, it really shifts our planet. It shifts us and it shifts our planet. So this is a very safe, sacred space with Ambujam, and we invite you to check it out. We have some comments that this sounds epic and it sounds good. So we're excited. And what a beautiful time for this. So I want to say that the live group Power Healing, there you go. It's in December. That will be recorded as well. Busy time. But an immediate download is available for that inner child healing. I can already feel that. I can feel that. And over the weekend, it was my inner child that came out. She was a little sad, but it's okay. It's all right. So really good work. Go ahead.
What I'm finding the longer I'm on this path is how significant our upbringing was and our little inner ones. And it can get our inner child quote stuff can easily get overlooked, or that it's not important because we're so focused on awakening, higher, this dimension, that dimension, this gateway, that gateway. And it's like, well, your little inner one, if they don't feel safe, they're going to see all that as a threat. And they're like, oh, hell no. No awakening for me. And so as your human present day self is trying to do all this embodiment and everything, the inner child is like trauma, scared, stuff, right? And it's like, I'm still amazed at the layers that are revealing for me that I'm like, whoa, that's this? What? It's just fascinating. Because we can forget because of the awakening stuff. We think, oh, that's either doesn't matter anymore, it's not a big deal, or it's not really significant. The higher gateways are more significant, right? And they both are. But yeah, it's really fascinating how much sacred wisdom the inner child has.
Wow.
They know everything.
Okay,
They were
you know
right
what?
there.
Write that down. The inner child has so much knowing, wisdom.
Because they were right there when everything went down. It happened. It's in our bodies. It's in them. It's not like they don't know. They had to cope. They had to survive. And so
Now we can start to see that inner child growing into the rebellious teenager, or and acting out in our first job and such, and keep repeating until we heal it and discover that wound. Discover that wound and like, oh, that's why I've always done that. And we can say it's genetics too, but it's what happens. It's drama. It's trauma and drama. Trauma. So, wow. Okay. Well, most of us light workers and on this path chose some rugged childhoods to come into. So thank you for offering such beautiful healing sessions in this way. Last question for you today. We have a question. What can we do to prepare? Is there anything we can do to prepare for next year's energies? It's almost like I can feel it. You know what? I can feel 2026. That's how fast this year went by. We're already in 2025. I can feel 2026. I can feel 2030 actually. But tell us about these energies next year.
Woof. Well, what can you do to prepare? You're already getting prepared. And the simple one of the simple ways I want to describe the energy of this year of 2025 is, so we have certain access to our energy, to outer energy, to information. That's going to open 20 gazillion fold. And so to me, what that looks like is this lines of light like this, that we're just like, bing, it's very strong. It's coming outward and in and inward and out. And so, it's really interesting. So you're already being prepped for that. Can't stop that. Can't rush it. It's doing you. But what's really interesting, Spirit's answer, which mentally would be like, that doesn't make any sense, is practice grounding in your body. So the more simple you can just be, the more you can handle anything. It's the foundation. So don't think about, I have to learn how to ground. What's grounding? I got to try to ground myself. Practice just bringing your awareness in within and feeling that answer from there. Well, what does grounding actually mean for me? What does being in my body actually mean in this really seamless, fluid way? So when the energies are coming, I'm dealing with them from that place that knows. It's like the end of The Matrix. I don't know, should I give stuff away? I'm assuming many people have seen that movie by now, right? So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, don't listen to this, okay? But it's important. Neo's journey, okay? I'm not the one, holy wowzers, I am. And at the very end, he woke up to who he was, and he used way less effort. He didn't have to run from the bullets anymore. He didn't have to run from the Smiths anymore. He just stood there and used only the amount of effort needed to deal with the situation. No more running. The whole movie is running, running, running. Everybody's running, running, right? At the end, boom, present, using the only energy that's needed to deal with the situation. So that's the image that comes up when Spirit talks about practice being in your body. So when things are coming, you're there. You're fluid, you're knowing, you're listening, and it's a practice. It's not like you should just snap your fingers and you feel that way, right? Because we're coming out of eons and eons of patterns and habit of being in the mind, right? So just keep practicing creating that foundation for yourself over and over and over and wider and deeper and deeper.
So wonderful. Thank you. You have filled our hearts with some profound wisdom today, patience, presence, and listening and grounding into the body. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you,
Thank
Ambujam.
you.
I'm so excited. I feel shifted, like you know exactly what each of us needed, and we all feel shifted from this today.
Thank
Thank you.
all of you guys, for collaborating together and allowing me to do my thing with you,
Again, if you would like to join Ambujam on her group power healing and take advantage of that inner child healing program, part 1 and 2, the link is in our chat. The link is in the email that you received to get you to this call today. And it's in the description box on our YouTube channel.
Come
And
on in.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Join in the fun. Get on the peace train. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Final thoughts as we say goodbye.
You've all got this, even though you may not think you do, right? There's who you are, and then there's who you think you are. So internally is where your peace, your knowing, your neutrality, your space, your heart, your surrender is. It's already there. Just be curious of what it feels like. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank
thank you
you.
all hearts for joining us today. We are so grateful for your love and your light. And Ambujam, your love and light has shifted us immensely. And we are
Thank you.
eternally grateful. Thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for having me, Loren.
Thank you. We'll see you again soon.
Okay, bye.
Namaste. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.